Hello, welcome to the American League Wild Card pregame show presented by the Ultimate Sports Show. I'm your host this evening. I'm Aaron. My name is Aaron, joined as always by my other co-host of the show, great newest addition as well to the team, Steven. It's postseason baseball. We're getting it started here. We got the American League Wild Card game. Obviously, where do we start? Probably the best matchup you can obviously ask for, a one game elimination game between the two biggest teams in the East, which is obviously the Yankees and the Red Sox, most historic rivalry in baseball, up there in the top five. This game is going to be happening today at 5 p.m. on ESPN. Pitching, man, is going to be the story of this game, I think. Garrett Cole versus Nathan Eovaldi. Both have had tremendous years this year. Garrett Cole is just blended right in, I feel like, with the Yankees. I mean, he just basically has made this his home. Same with Eovaldi. Both been dominant this year. But obviously it starts not just with the pitching side, it's the hitting side. And look, this Yankee, we got to talk about the Yankees for a second, because there's no power offense in the Yankees without Stanton and the Judge, because these guys have just been hitting lasers out. I mean, they've looked solid. They've been dominant on the defensive end as well. Steven, this Yankees team is just relentless this year. I feel like this is something they haven't had in a while. They seem like they're confident, they're motivated. Obviously, as well as the Red Sox, they're hungry for this game, and I think, honestly, you couldn't have had it any better way to have a wild card game between these two historic teams.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this matchup is it's great for baseball. I think that's the one thing. Even if you're not a baseball fan, these are the two most recognizable brands in the sport. And I would say arguably this is the best rivalry in all of sports, regardless, of baseball or not. But
yeah.
I think that this is going to be a great game just for that. The fact that it's at Fenway, it's going to be a great environment. I'm just excited to watch the game because now we got crowds, people are in the stadium. It's going to be rocking. So I'm excited. But man, like you were saying, I would say, just to look at the Yankees real quick, it is nuts that, Aaron Judge is, one of the best offensive players in all of baseball, but the fact that you have Stanton that's pretty much right underneath him statistically, that is just such a nightmare to play against. And then I think, the person that gets lost the most is DJ LeMahieu. He's such a great contact hitter, and he's such a great setup guy for those two big bats. And it's just that offense is such a nightmare to pitch against. And I think that, like you said, the pitching matchup is what I've got my eye on for this game. But man, the Yankees, they are just, the Bronx Bombers are back, man. They are just quite the offensive load to deal with.
Yeah, and obviously, we have to get into the Red Sox here. Obviously 92 win team as well. They have their guys right here. Devers, man, is I think he's the most least talked about right now. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that what he's done so far, obviously he's been hitting dingers all over the place with 38 home runs. He's got his batting average 279 and 113 RBIs. Like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah. Seriously, like, that dude has been unreal, along with his fellow partner Xander Bogart. They've both been hitting the ball great. Obviously 295 average and a 370 on base percentage. That's Steven, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Those two guys right there. Obviously Boston has had other people as well. Verdugo and Kike Hernandez been great additions to that team as well. They're making some phenomenal catches as well. And I just think the Red Sox really have gotten a close, patented group now that they didn't have before. And I feel like that's something that, kind of reminds them of the 2018 team they had, because they said, look, it's win or go home now, and we're in to win this game, and we're going to do whatever it takes. I anticipate this game though on both sides to be definitely pitching, pitching, pitching. Absolutely. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if this game is such a low scoring game because you just got two of the best dominant pitchers in the East.
Well, I would say the the issue the issue that I have with Boston isn't offensively. I mean, if you look at their offense, I have to give a shout out to Hunter Renfroe, a former Padre. I mean, he's another guy on that lineup. Like you said, it reminds me so much of 2018 when there's not. I mean, yeah, Devers is obviously their best offensive player, although Bogarts is right there. But you look at every player in that lineup can produce
Yeah.
offensively, and there's no easy out in their rotation. So when you go through their batting order, it's they sort of just wear you down because you have just consistently good hitters throughout their lineup. And so I think that that's the one thing that Garrett Cole is going to have to deal with, where there's no easy outs that you're going to get. And over the course of a game, I think what I'm looking at specifically when it comes to pitching is, I think that especially Garrett Cole, I don't like the Yankees bullpen. I think that for me, I think the key to this game is going to be, can Garrett Cole last? Can he get up to that 100 pitch count? Can he make it into the sixth inning? Without giving up a large amount of runs. But I don't know. The question I would pose to you is, this was not only the 24th was less than 2 weeks ago, and Eovaldi you gave up 7 runs against the Yankees, and this was at home at Fenway. It's a very similar environment. Can he turn it around and have a significantly different performance today? I don't know. I think that it's going to be that's what I'm looking out for, because like you said, this game comes down to pitching 100%.
I think it's gonna. You know what? I feel like though with postseason baseball, in general, even if it is a wild card game, I mean, still you're gonna have electric Fenway because this
Hmm.
game, the Yankees have to play there, and you know what? It is what it is. I mean, we know how loud they are. I mean, they're probably the loudest fan base on the East, and they don't hold back, especially against the Yankees. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be loud. It's gonna be probably a difficult environment for Garrett Cole to have to pitch in because he knows everything is elevated. And I think who's ever got those jitters, that early start off first guy, your first batter you're
Hmm.
gonna walk. I feel like maybe then after you get the first guy, everyone gets settled down a little bit. I anticipate this game to be pretty close. I anticipate no more than maybe a run or two at the
Hmm.
most by both teams. I honestly kind of think tonight. I really do think that this game is gonna be very close, and it's gonna be either won in the eighth inning or the ninth inning,
Yeah.
or even a walk off. I think so.
No, I agree with you. I think, and that's where the big bats of the Yankees come into play, because like you said, this is the definition of a hostile environment. When it comes to
Yeah,
sports, I mean, it is going to be crazy. I would say, just to sort of, not to harp on this, but I really trust the Red Sox rotation, especially deep into their relievers, a little bit more than the Yankees.
yeah,
I think you could see Matt Barnes, you could see Ottavino, I think you could see Chris Sale. A lot of these guys, they've got some big game experience, but I think you can mess with righty lefty a lot. I wouldn't be surprised, if you see maybe 4 or 5 pitchers in the span of 2 or 3 innings. I think you're going to see a lot of just matchup choices, because like you said, I mean, this is one game, win or go home. This is going to be, we're going to throw everything we can to stop the other team. And I think if it comes down to that final inning or two, it's going to be all about the Red Sox pitching versus the Yankees hitting. I think
mm.
that's what's going to be, like you said, my prediction is going to be, it's going to end in a walk-off, because I think this game is going to be tied late. So it just depends who can pull it off.
Do you think this game could really potentially go extra innings? And I mean,
Yeah.
with that extra innings rule, I mean, I don't think it gets talked enough about. Is this is what they want it for.
Hmm.
Essentially, I mean, obviously it's more pressure because now you're thinking, okay, this whole extra inning rule, the runner stays on second for those that don't know. And it's the last batter that faced from the opposing team. So,
Hmm.
everything's on. I think the pressure's on more. And I think that's what is going to make this game more exciting if it goes to extra innings. I mean, you don't know what you're going to expect from Garrett Cole. You don't know what to expect to Valdi. I think in the Yankees aspect, they're going to ride him out as long as they can. I mean,
Yeah.
their bullpen's been the subject, like you were saying. So honestly, I think they're playing it out that says, look, if we can get Garrett Cole to pitch at least seven innings, 8 innings,
Yeah.
and turn the ball over to Chapman, they would love that. They would rather
Yeah.
probably have that as well because their pitching, their bullpen is just not there. I think that's
Yeah.
just the worst part about it is, that you have the Red Sox have the edge over there of their bullpen with Chris Sale and just how well he's been doing as well.
Yeah.
So I think I think the Yankees honestly win this game if Cole just goes out there and dominates. I think he's got to go out there.
Hmm.
Judge and Stanton got to carry this team as well because I mean nothing's gonna make them more hungry than to go out there and go face your team and be the underdogs too. Just go out there
Yeah.
and really put a stinger down. But I mean, what are the Red Sox? If the Red Sox want to win this game, what do you think they got to do?
I think if I'm the Red Sox, this is a war of attrition. So
Now,
they have the depth both when it comes to pitching and when it comes to hitting. So it's let's keep this game close. I think their goal should be obviously, nobody's goal is to get to extra innings. But like you said, with now the extra innings rule,
yeah,
that benefits the Red Sox, in my mind, way more than the Yankees.
yeah,
The Yankees need to end this thing, and they need to end it early because the longer this game drags out, the depth of the Red Sox will really start to show. And so I think that if the best hope for the Red Sox is to keep it close and just to wear them out with how many players they can keep throwing at them behind the
yeah.
plate, and then how many the depth of their pitching. But what do you think the key to the game is for the Yankees? I mean, what do you think they need to do to come away with a win?
Honestly, I think they got to put runs. I think not only strong pitching performance from Cole, but I honestly think the offense. I
Yeah.
think their offensive production has got to be there. I think
Hmm.
if you want to beat Boston in Fenway, you have to. They say this a lot in other sports as well. Is you got to outscore the opponent here.
Hmm.
You literally have to outscore the Red Sox and be able to turn that ball over in the ninth inning to Chapman, who we know obviously I think he topped out once at 108 or something like
Yeah.
that, something like 108, 109. I mean, you have a guy that if still can throw that electric fastball.
Gosh.
If you still have a guy that could blow smoke like that, that is I think the way the Yankees are going to win that game. But I think if the Red Sox are able to attack Cole, I think if they pick off his pitches, or either because he's tipping him because he's been nervous,
Hmm.
or he's not reading the signs right as well, or something's just off of his A game. I expect moves to be made within a doubt, and it's going to be taken inning by inning basis. I mean, that's the kind of playoff atmosphere it is, and I think that's what makes it great about it.
Yeah, I would say for me, if I have to pick who's going to win this game, my head is telling me the Red Sox are going to win because they're playing at Fenway. They have the deeper team. But my gut is telling me the Yankees are going to win this game. They have more star power. And I have this feeling that they are going to, I think you're going to see possibly you're going to see a Stanton or a Judge home run, and I really think that this is the year. This is the year where that firepower really produces in the postseason, and this is going to be sort of a coming out party for them. I think.
You know what? I'm gonna go with a little bit of a score prediction.
Hmm.
I honestly think the Yankees will win that game. I think the
Hmm.
Yankees win this game 2-1.
Oh, okay.
And I think honestly, Red Sox are going to get their only run because of either an Alex Verdugo home run or
Hmm.
I'm you know what? Yes, they're both former Dodgers, but I'd say either Alex Verdugo or Kike Hernandez
Hmm.
gets some kind of hanging breaking ball, and that's their only run that they score. But I just think I got Garrett Cole going at least 7 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 10 to 12 strikeouts in the game, with no walks. I
Yeah.
think I think that's gonna. I think that would they would feel much better about it. Obviously, we'll see what happens. And that's what baseball is so great, man. And
Yeah.
this series is gonna be great, and we look forward to recapping this action later on tonight. So that's going to do it for us for the American League Wild Card pregame show presented by the Ultimate Sports Show. For Steven and myself, I'm Aaron, guys. We will catch you after the game for all the post-game reactions, and we'll see if our predictions came true. Take care, guys.